I searched my son's name on the dark web. I now know why he went missing. It's been 2 years since my adorable boy vanished. Police advised us not to be concerned, saying that it was likely he was simply lost and would show up in the future. I never could have comprehended how much more horrifying the reality would be. Despite the police officers' vague assurances and unfounded assumptions, Tanner never did come back. Weeks and months went past. The police seemed like they had forgotten about him. My only chance of getting him back was if I did something myself. I searched frantically for anything that would provide a hint as to his whereabouts for weeks. I reasoned that given he spent most of his time at his computer, it was the best guess. Tanner was a developer for a large organization called Xperio, and despite numerous attempts to explain what he did to me, I was never able to fully understand it. I now regret not questioning him more when he was still alive. His dad used to run a PC repair shop when he was a kid, so Tanner became a tech-savvy youngster who was an expert at building and diagnosing PCs. Before he passed away, he had been dabbling with app creation in his spare time and had become fairly skilled at it. He revealed to me that he was developing a brand new app that would be unique from any others available. My only hope was finding the other programmer working on the project with him. I had hoped that he might know something, but after tracking him down, I discovered that he was an eccentric Satanist with a disorganized appearance. He avoided meeting my gaze and provided no helpful information except to share that Tanner had been extremely secretive about his project. He insisted the remaining details were highly confidential. I went home defeated once again, my only chance of finding him now wasted. Tanner's old computer was set up on my desk, so I turned it on and sat down, resolved to do some more digging. Luckily, Google had saved all his passwords, so I didn't need to try to figure them out through impossible guesswork. I searched through all his emails, his text history on his phone, anything that stood out. But there was nothing that gave any clue as to where he might be. If anything, they painted the picture of someone living an ordinary life, making plans for the future, with no indication of wanting to disappear. I was starting to think that whatever happened, it was against his will. I sat there at my desk with the mouse in my hand for days and then weeks, looking for something, anything of use. Everything turned out to be a dead end. Of course, I called the police frequently as well, but they were of no help either. But that was when I received a text. "Tell no one about this. If you contact anybody, I'm gone. I'm your only chance at finding him." There was a URL linked in the message. Another ding, another message. "Enter the URL on Tor." Adrenaline filled my body and I turned on the PC, locating the Tor application. That was when I noticed the little lens at the top of his monitor that was the built-in webcam. The red light was on next to it, indicating it was recording. Someone was watching me, and they could see what I was doing on the computer as well. I was sure of it. I texted back, doing it now. After typing in the URL exactly as instructed, the screen turned into a login for a website of some kind. I received another text. "Password is his favorite movie. You have 2 minutes." I didn't need 2 minutes for that at least, since I knew it was Fight Club, as it had been since that movie had been released. My hands were shaking as I typed the password into the box. I was beginning to feel very concerned, but also a bit hopeful at this sudden turn of events. A chat window opened up and a message promptly appeared from someone named Shadowcat. A message appeared on the screen. "You're his mother, I take it?" I typed back a response quickly, afraid of losing whoever this was. It felt like they could disappear at any second, back into the ether, and I would never find them again. "Yes. Do you know where he is? Is he okay?" I replied. He replied with another link, but this one was a lot darker. I typed in the URL and found myself at another website. It was a bit like eBay, except instead of selling old records and jewelry, people were selling guns, explosives, substances, and some very disturbing categories of videos. "What the hell is this?" I asked. He instantly replied, "Never mind your questions for now." Suddenly an image appeared, replacing the chat window. It showed my son Tanner chained to a wall in a stress position. He was blindfolded and gagged, but I could hear his muffled screams for help. My hands were shaking nearly uncontrollably. I was in pure panic like I've never experienced before. My own son was right in front of me, but there was nothing I could do to save him. "Trust me or don't. The choice is yours. If you refuse, he die. If you do what I say, I will give him back to you unharmed." It seemed there was no other option. I felt trapped and hopeless, depressed in the horrible situation I had found myself in. If I called the police, he would see me do it on the webcam. If I said no, he would kill Tanner. "Fine. Yes, I'll do what you want," I said. He replied, "Good. Here's your shopping list. Get everything on it." A long list of items was included next, and my eyes widened further as I read through it. The chat window closed suddenly. I was left alone in my living room, my heart beating fast and hard in my chest. Only the other website remained now, the one with black market guns and explosives and everything else illegal that you could have delivered to your doorstep. I debated calling the police again, telling them these new developments, or even going to the police station. But what if the kidnapper found out? He obviously had ways to spy on me, so I did as they said. I filled the online shopping cart with the requested illicit items and entered my credit card information, cringing as I hit enter. I guessed I would have to cancel my credit card since I didn't trust the vendors one bit, but at least that part was done. Only a week later, the package arrived in the mail. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I definitely wasn't expecting it to work. As soon as I had brought it inside, I got another text message. It invited me to another chat on Tor, where I was given a physical address. They said to meet them there with the package, and they would give me back my son. I was to tell no one where I was going. It was dark by the time I arrived at the old warehouse in the industrial section of town. My trunk had some cargo in it that would surely get me a couple decades in prison, if not more. Terrified, I sat in my car, still gripping the steering wheel tightly with both hands, despite the car being turned off. I had no idea what was going to happen next. Whoever took my son could take me too. Was this just some huge plan to unalive both of us? My cell phone chimed and I nearly jumped out of my skin. It was a text message. Come inside through the east door. I looked up and saw a door right in front of where I parked. I was terrified, but knowing this was my only chance of saving my innocent son, I took a deep breath and got out of the car, bringing the bag with me. My hand shook as I reached out and grasped the doorknob, turned it, and went into the dark, cavernous space inside the warehouse. As difficult as it was to see outside, it was even darker in there. "Hello?" My voice echoed back at me. "Did you bring everything?" I jumped, startled when I heard the voice. It was raspy and low-pitched, and made the hair stand up on the back of my neck at the sound of it. Yes, I whimpered back. "Good, bring it this way." Terrified, I stepped forward into the pitch blackness, unsure if I would run into something. I moved slowly and deliberately, hoping not to hurt myself. "He's got it for us." "Yes." Suddenly I realized there was not just one voice speaking, but many. They were all around me, surrounding me in the darkness. I felt their movements in the air around me and heard sounds like the wind blowing during a thunderstorm. I heard them moving closer now, inching towards me. Their voices were in my ears as I backed away. "Where is my son? Show him to me or you get nothing!" I was terrified, but determined to get Tanner back, come hell or high water. "Or maybe we'll keep you as well, little son. Maybe someone will want you back badly enough to bring us more offerings, more dark treasures." As soon as the words finished echoing in the blackened room, a light snapped on. To my horror, it revealed not just one person, but a host of people. They were monstrous in their appearance, their forms human-like but twisted and deformed in a grotesque manner, as if they had conducted their own twisted body modifications on themselves. Some were horrifically tall, others possessed limbs that were too long, too twisted. Eyes glowed from some as if they had installed LED lights into their eyelids, whilst others had no visible eyes at all. They were staring at me, grinning with a glee that sent chills down my spine. In the corner of the room, I noticed a heap on the floor, illuminated by the harsh light. It took me a moment to register. It was Tanner, alive but not moving. His eyes were wide open, filled with terror. He was restrained and gagged, but most horrifyingly, he seemed to be changing, his skin slowly morphing into something resembling the beings in front of me. "You want him?" the tallest creature rasped. "First, deliver the package." Then it hit me, the realization that whatever Tanner had been working on wasn't an app. It was something far more terrifying, and I had been their pawn in this game. Their laughter filled the air, a sound as cruel and heartless as their grins, but I could barely hear it over the blood rushing in my ears. Tanner was changing, and I had brought the ingredients for his transformation. "Your task isn't done," the creature said, grinning malevolently. "Oh no, you're just getting started." As the words sank in, the lights went off, leaving me in complete darkness once again. The chilling laughter echoed around me, growing fainter until I was left alone with the unconscious body of my son. A sudden sharp pain exploded in my neck, and I instinctively reached out to touch the spot, finding a small, jagged piece of metal lodged into my skin. The world started to spin as I pulled the object out, looking at it under the faint light seeping in from the cracks in the warehouse door. It was a small, thin syringe, empty, but it reeked of a chemical scent I couldn't place. Something was terribly wrong. I could feel my heart rate climbing, my skin prickling with sweat as a wave of dizziness hit me. Stumbling, I reached for my cell phone, my trembling fingers struggling to unlock it. But I noticed something in the reflection of my phone screen. There was a figure behind me, looming in the darkness. I spun around, my back hitting the cold, damp wall. The figure stepped into the thin strip of light, falling through the cracks of the warehouse door, revealing a face that made my blood run cold. It was my son, Tanner. He was no longer the innocent boy who had disappeared a year ago. His eyes were now the same as the grotesque creatures that surrounded us. A sickening realization came over me. The transformation was complete. "Mom," he said, his voice unrecognizable, a guttural growl. "I warned you not to interfere." As the words echoed in the room, my vision blurred, my legs gave way under me, and the darkness swallowed me whole. The last thing I heard before blacking out was Tanner's voice filled with a terrifying glee. "Welcome to the family."